That music, it's playing again.
With everything we've learned about what it takes to operate this game at the level that you deserve, it's clear that you can't deliver a better build.
What is that melody?
Overwatch is done. The whole world already knows about the PvE situation, and I made a previous video discussing the whole situation, breaking down the fact that Overwatch's PvE has now been scrapped and its original vision is no longer a thing, and how Blizzard is going to move forward with implementing the PvE in battle passes in future installments of the game's updates. But the world reacted in a very big way. Many big content creators and streamers and even community members and people who play the game have talked a lot about the PvE, and especially in my previous video, which gained a lot of love and support, there were a lot of comments and a lot of opinions and suggestions, and of course even some backlash towards me about some of the things that were discussed. So I wanted to bring your comments to light, put them up here on the screen, and really just talk about it, because this is a very big moment in Overwatch's history, and a lot of these events are going to affect how the game is played, since there's a lot of people who love playing the game and a lot of people who are now unfortunately uninstalling and leaving the game forever. I still wanted to discuss this though, because everyone's viewership and everyone's opinions really do matter. And again, I appreciate everyone for coming out, discussing and giving your opinions, whether they're good or bad, because I like taking all of that in and just seeing all different types of perspectives. So without further ado, let's dive into some of the comments you guys have been throwing out on the channel and let's discuss it. So we got a comment here from Sebi Sonic, which says, "It's not the problem of the PvE being cancelled, maybe it's for the better, maybe it didn't really work or whatever. But the fact is that they lied to us from launch, now saying that it was in development, despite basically canceling it before Season 1 was even released, not telling us that it was coming out, only for it to be a popularity boost for the game when the players are expecting this new big mode. It makes me question if they can even deliver on the roadmap. Had they had said this from the start or delayed from the launch, nobody would have nearly been as mad as they are now." And that's what I agree with. You know, I remember when I got up and I started playing the Overwatch early access version, I was really excited for it because my whole push for this game was to be playing it up until the point where the PvE releases, because again, I really like the lore involved with Overwatch. There's a lot of mysterious characters, there's a lot of mysterious situations, even with stories that we've heard a lot about, like with the Omnic Crisis, there's a lot that still needs to be known, and I think it would have been really good to have learned the origin of certain characters, places, locations, and events throughout this whole PvE mode, and being able to interact with it in a very fun and crazy way with my friends, with new progression systems and just new things to do inside of this new mode. It would be something completely new for Overwatch, and the way they advertised it was beautiful and perfect, but that vision no longer exists, and there was no communication from between when they announced it and to the point of cancellation, and that's really is what making everybody so mad about the faulty release of this information. Next comment here we have is from Arius Hart, which says, "I'm really gonna care about what you said, dude. I understand they couldn't come through with their own promise, but I'm still gonna keep playing the game and continue to play Overwatch until it is literally gone. They will still see release stories, but in pieces, so technically it's not completely canceled. You're just acting spoiled." Now, here's one thing that I really am pushing for, because I don't want there to be discourse against the people that want to stop playing the game and people who continue to play the game. I think that Overwatch in general is still a really good game. It's fun, you know, it grabbed my heart from when I played Overwatch 1, and I had a really good time with that game, and I still think that even the base game that has competitive, the normal modes, the workshop, everything is a great way to play and spend your time. And if you are genuinely entertained by that, feel free. You can play as much Overwatch as you want. I will not judge you. I don't think you're hindering this whole movement. I don't even consider it a movement in general. I just want to uninstall the game on my own and go on to something better. Go on to a company, go on to a game that's surrounded with more communication, more transparency, and more just enabling the players to understand what's going on in the background. I personally said Valorant. A lot of people had opinions when I said Valorant because they think it's a bad game, but I personally enjoy it. And what I enjoy most about Valorant is Riot Games. Riot Games, they have their transparency issues. All companies do. But at least when they make an update and they push it out, I understand what's going to come with that update, and I can see see all of the nice little nooks and crannies and changes that they're making with that change. So I want to move on, and I think that it's not spoiled to want to have a vision fulfilled, to be advertised something and then all of a sudden this whole advertisement doesn't exist, especially when you put your money into it, which is something I'll get into later. But I don't think it's spoiled to want to actually be playing the very thing that was advertised to you. But at the end of the day, I hope that everyone who still wants to play Overwatch gets a great experience out of their gameplay, and I hope that Blizzard and all of the higher ups who make these poor decisions start doing better and give the players the proper amounts of content and the right advertised content for them. We got a comment here from triple letter score that says, the thing is it's free to play and I'm not uninstalling, but they won't be getting a dime out of me for the battle pass or skins over this, but I'll happily cost them money and keep playing for free, and living with the fact that Activision is just a trash company that can't manage their resources properly. And I agree with this. If you're still a person that wants to play Overwatch and you want to enjoy the gameplay and you genuinely just enjoy the base game of Overwatch, I think it's best if you just play the game. Don't buy into things. If you really don't mind not dropping a dime on a skin, if you don't care about cosmetics all that much anyways, you won't be hurting them, because their whole new PvE system is going to be tied in with the battle pass. So if you do, in a sense, want to protest against that, you don't have to spend money. But again, if you want to spend money on it and you want to do your thing, I'm not going to blame you. Again, I'm not trying to make this a movement. I'm not trying to push a narrative here. I just said from my initial video that I personally am uninstalling. I'm done with playing this game. I want to see Blizzard Activision do better, because I know that there are people working in those offices who are working their hardest every single day to push out content, and even those guys are getting swept under the rug when that's completely unfair. I want to see Overwatch do better than a lot of other people who are currently just hating on the game. I want the developers to do better, and I think that this is a good way of going about it, just taking my business elsewhere. Put your money where your mouth is. Another comment here from Sir Bear that says, my problem is the fact that I pre-ordered the game so I would get the PvE content. No PvE content, so should we sue for false advertising? Now, I think what this comment is talking about, Sir Bear here is talking about, is the Watchpoint pack, and I think this is a great thing to discuss because it was confusing. The Watchpoint pack wasn't really meant to be a precursor to getting the PvE early. It wasn't exactly a pre-order, it was just early access. That's something that I purchased as well, and you know, I kind of feel sad for purchasing it, but it was also a means of just playing the game a little bit early, getting a couple of extra cosmetic skins and some cosmetic currency for your actual Overwatch experience moving forward. I think it even gave you the Season 1 pass and a bunch of other things, and it was a really good head start. I think it cost about 30 to 40 bucks, and it was a nice little way to jump in. My problem with it is that I guess I took it too far with purchasing that Watchpoint pack, because I considered it a way of putting money where my mouth is and showing the company that I am committed to this game, that I want to see this game do better, and though I am going to put more money into the game and I want to play early and get more experience with it, and in general just have fun. I was really hyped for the launch of Overwatch 2. I thought that it was going to be the beginning of great things, and for many ways it really was a good game to play. But I had just kind of wished that my money had more meaning to Blizzard, and that they could have found some way, even working with a different developer, different company, to make this whole PvE experience that was originally advertised come to life. So unfortunately, I don't know if a lawsuit will come up for this. I don't know if people will start fighting back on that. It would be an interesting thing to keep watch of. But for the most part, there was never any mention of PvE content involved with the Watchpoint pack whatsoever. Got a really good comment here from Ares, God of War. It says, if they had told us prior to launch that PvE wasn't going to be the same, I would have been frustrated, but I would have probably at least have it on my hard drive. When I found out that they had actually lied about it, I decided that I was done with Overwatch. Even if they gave us PvE later, I'll never come back. There was no good reason to lie to us. Also, Street Fighter 6 is going to be lit, Cammy main for sure, and I'll be trying out Kimberly during the open beta. Yeah, I agree with that as well. You know, there was a lot of time in between the initial announcement of Overwatch 2's PvE and to the time now of their cancellation. Even if it's just a small murmur of saying, hey, we're having some difficulties with getting the game completed in the way that we want, and we want to make sure that we're reaching the artistic feature that we showed off in our original trailers. You know, I don't know if things are going to work out too well, or we might have to scale back and push this later on the deadline list. We apologize to all of our fans, something along the lines of that, you know, like something communicative. Don't just announce something and then give us gameplay seasons, new characters and events and story modes and all of that, and then all of a sudden it's canceled. This is a great way to piss people off because the entire time people are thinking, hey, this game must be going well. They haven't mentioned anything. They're probably hard at work getting things going. And then when this happens, the whole world comes crashing down. At least give us something to soften the blow, because I love Overwatch. I love the game. I want to see it succeed. And this wasn't the way to help do it. And I agree with Ares God of War here. You can't just go from here to here with no information whatsoever and expect people to be happy with a cancellation that was so big. So I have a last comment here from Reindeer YT, which says Activision is all about the money and they don't care where the game is at all. It's all about the money, and Overwatch was a great game until they came out with Overwatch 2 and added a battle pass. Once you add a battle pass, it's all over for the game. Now, this is a really rough thing to have to say. I hate the way that it's going about because, I mean, the world is opening up more to free-to-play game experiences, right? I think that making Overwatch 2 free-to-play was a really good push because now everyone from all devices can link up. You know, there was that cash barrier with Overwatch 1, even though it was surprisingly cheap, maybe about 20-30 bucks. Some people can't even scrap that together, especially the younger audiences. So making this game free to play really was a good push, and it allowed everyone, even on Nintendo Switch, to link up and play with players on Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and it united the world. You know, Overwatch's story is about reuniting heroes and getting people back together to fight the evils like Omnic Crisis and Talon. So I like that, and I think that it was a good push and that they did a great job. Creating a battle pass, of course, if it's going to be a free game, we have to have a way to leverage and make sure that the game stays alive, whether it's with dedicated servers or with supporting the developers, the graphics designers, or all the big minds behind this whole game. And I think that, you know, it's not wrong to have a battle pass. We need that to survive. It's just that Overwatch 2 pushed it a little bit. Sometimes their prices were a little bit steep on skins. I remember seeing controversies on that. They had to dial back the prices, make sure things were affordable. And of course, now they're trying to force things into the battle pass so that they can kind of create an experience that's more for the main line that other games are doing, which is kind of annoying because, you know, no one really wanted PvE to be in a battle pass anyway. They wanted it to be on its own. I would have gladly paid 50, 40 bucks for the battle pass, or no, for the PvE system on its own as well. I think that games can do battle passes, they just have to do them well. I mean, look at Fortnite, for example. Every single time we hear about Fortnite, there's something crazy going on. Attack on Titan, freaking Spider-Man, Miles Morales. They have crazy events that are actually enthusiasming and entertaining. So I think that you can do a battle pass in a game. I think a game can go free to play. You just have to make sure that you're not lying to your player base and giving them a vision that will never be fulfilled, and the company actually knows that it won't be fulfilled, but they kind of lead their people astray. Overall though, that was all the comments that I could get to make this video the way it is. I hope that you all enjoyed, and of course, thank you all for sharing your opinions. I know that there were a lot of good opinions and a lot of people thinking negatively, and at the end of the day, I just wanted to be known that Overwatch, I do believe genuinely, is a good game, but there's a lot of practices behind the game that could do better, personally for me. And as long as Activision Blizzard keeps doing this the way they do it, they're not going to see a lot of love and support from their fan base. But at the end of the day, I'd still love to know what you all think in the comments down below. What do you think about some of these comments? And maybe you were one of the commenters here that were shown in the video. Regardless, thank you all for watching. If you liked it, hit that like and that subscribe button, and without further ado, peace out.